Hey all, Scott here from Art of the Genre, and today I just wanted to talk a little bit about Airbase-67. Airbase-67 goes back a long way with me. Back in about 1990, my good friend Mark, who helped me design the Fast RPG system, was looking to design something because he had seen a new anime, or at least new to us, while he was at college, called Area 88. It's a great anime. It's about mercenary pilots and a mercenary pilot in particular named Shin. And he gets kind of shanghaied and has to go work with a mercenary company in a fictitious country. And it's pretty cool because it's the aircraft of that era, 1990 and earlier. And it kind of showcases them just fighting away against MiGs and other, aircraft. And it's just a nice encapsulation of a great 1980s anime. And he decided he wanted to make a game based on that. So in the summer of probably 1990, he got his brother word processor together and started putting together something he called Area 89. And he made 2 copies of it because it wasn't even, it was actually, he might only made 1 copy of it, to be honest with you, because it's on a brother. Remember, you have to print that thing out page by page by page. And it's like, because it's basically a typewriter, but it has a little bit of memory. And then it kind of just prints it out once you put it together. And it took forever to print. Things on that. I remember in college you'd have to print the night before for something you were trying to turn into, a professor that next day, because it would take you literally a couple hours to print something out if it was a few pages long. Anyway, he ended up making something he called Area 89. Area 89, the role-playing game. And he gave me a copy of it back in the day. It's the only copy that still exists. And as you can see, again, it's kind of yellowed in its pages, and it might be, I don't know, 15 pages, but most of it are just like little stat blocks of aircraft, because there were 30 aircraft that you could choose from within Airbase 88. So really the most of the document is just the aircraft. But he does have a page with the costs associated with each aircraft, because you had to buy your own aircraft. And there's some aerial maneuvers, which are in here in one of the pages. The weaponry that you could pick up, the experience, you could go to level 10 in this particular edition of it. And then finally, the bases of skills, which was all a percentile-based system, so kind of similar to, let's say, a Star Frontiers or something like that. Anyway, I still had it all those years later. And when we decided to do the FAST system, the FAST system itself is a multi-genre role-playing. So it comes with, we had to come up with all kinds of places that you could play within the multi-genre outside of anything that you might be extrapolating on yourself. So we did that, and that came out in 2021. And then by 2025, we had played and created so many settings that I thought it was probably a good time to come out with something I called a gold edition, which basically took anything that we saw just from more extensive, beta testing on it, and just kind of creating what we considered a better or more complete system, and that's the gold system. So this is the Fast Multi-Genre RPG Gold, and it's a few hundred pages long, and it details all kinds of the stuff that you would need in a role-playing base system. But when we were doing that, I also thought to myself, hey, if I'm going to do the gold system, I probably needed to redo some of the little micro settings, which is what I'd done for it. And one of the micro settings I did when I had talked initially to Mark, I said, hey, I've still got this old copy of what you consider Area 89. Let's call it Airbase-67. Recreate it in a Middle Eastern country that I named the Kingdom of Sajid. And I will do a campaign, which I did 10 small adventures for it, and a micro setting. And the micro setting was actually one of the bigger micro settings I had, because it had to have 30 aircraft detailed in it. But it still was only 20 pages. And when most micro settings were like 5 to 8, but they did give you like a basis of what you were looking at for that setting. Anyway, long story short, I started redoing those in gold, and I thought to myself, if I'm redoing those in gold, I really need to make a gold edition of the Airbase-67, because it seemed to be fairly popular with people, and people that remember the old Area 88 anime. So you'd have to be hopefully as old as me, and I'm in my 50s now, amazingly. But nevertheless, I created the full setting guide gold for the fast edition of Airbase-67. And this is a physical copy of the book that I just laid out myself. I taught myself, because I was doing so much fast stuff instead of the old folio stuff that I was doing, I thought I would teach myself how to use InDesign. So I did. I taught myself how to use InDesign over the course of the last 2 years, and I created this Airbase system. And it comes with 12 kits, which you can see here. This is a police and medical helicopter pilot is one of the kits that you could get to create your character. I got air show and aerobatic performer, dangerous wilderness freight pilots, corporate executive pilot, aircraft instructor, aerial firefighting pilot. Anyway, there are a lot of them in here, and it helps you set up the system. And then you can be either a military kit over here to start out with, and then you add the other kit to it in the fast course gold system, or a civilian kit, a civilian pilot. But nevertheless, you're some kind of pilot when you come into the Airbase-67 setting. And then you get when you come to the Kingdom of Sajid, you get 500,000 in credit to spend, where you can get one of these aircraft, jet aircraft, going from the F-100 Sabre all the way up to an F-18 Hornet. Which is basically kind of the top end of 1990 when you're talking about things. The system that I also designed, it also goes into the full air combat, expanding on anything that you'd found in Fast Gold, wingmen, and all that good stuff, anti-aircraft flak. And as you can see, here's the Super Sabre. Every plane now has a picture and its own stat blocks and its histories. This here is the F-104 Starfighter, and they just continue to go on. F-8 Crusader, F-4 Phantom. This is one of my favorites. The character that I was playing in 1990, Marilyn Braddock, she flew an F-4 Phantom, and I absolutely love that plane. It goes to the F-16 Falcon, and the Dragonfly, and then you've got Mitsubishi F-1. So you get some certain aircraft from around the world, a Bach Lightning, Subcat Jaguar. The book is just filled with really cool planes. A Saab Draken, the Viggen, the Panavia Tornado. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff in here. Harriers. I had a guy that fought it. And then of course you got stats on all the MiGs that you'll be fighting. The MiG-17, MiG-19, MiG-21, 23, 25, and the 29, which was released for sale, stripped down in 1989, I believe. So it is something that you could fight within the course of the Kingdom of Sajid campaign. And then you've got read on all the stat blocks, all the weapon systems, everything that you can buy. And then I do some stats and stuff on the enemy that you're fighting in the Kingdom of Sajid. That would be the elite South Sajid mercenary pilot. So you get cool stats for them, Red Hand insurgents and stuff like that could be coming in. And then you also get this really cool section, which are blueprints for every single plane in here. So not only do you get the stat blocks and stuff like that, but you can show your players all the blueprints and stuff like that for it. So it ended up coming out to being 170 so pages, and it's a really nice hardcover. Now, I don't know if I will ever make this hardcover available, and I apologize for that. If I get enough interest, certainly on this video, and people comment below that they would like a hardcover, I just might produce one, because it's all done. All I have to do is click, like, yes, buy a certain number of these. But otherwise, they are available to you in full PDF on DriveThruRPG, which I'll have the links below. The core, the Fast Core RPG in hardcover can be found on the Art of the Genre website, or on DriveThruRPG, only in digital form. But if you wanted the hardcover of it, or you wanted a GM screen in hardcover, you can get that as well. I do have, I did a limited run of 50 of these, and I think I have like 9 or 10 left. And they're all signed and numbered, so they're kind of fun. But you could get that as well. But I just wanted to kind of just showcase Airbase-67 today, because I absolutely love the setting. when I went back through and did the gold edition of it, the initial Kingdom of Saigid campaign, most of them were encounters, which means they were less than 10 pages, probably between 5 and 6 pages. So they were just like little mini encounters. If you went back and now see the gold edition of them, I have expanded them so much. They are roughly between 17 and 22 pages, but they come in so much detail about what it's like to be a mercenary, and takes you month by month by month by month in the campaign. So first flight, I think, is October, and then it tells you like what's going on in October 1989, what's going on at the airbase, the things that your pilots can do on the airbase, the people your pilots can come in contact with. And then in November, you get like, it's Thanksgiving on the airbase. Even though pilots are from around the world, they still celebrate Thanksgiving. And then in December, you go Christmas. And then January, different things that are happening, races, dart games, all kinds of stuff that you can do as a pilot to expand the campaign for your players and make them really feel a part of Airbase-67, not just simply going on missions, but everyone obviously does have some kind of core mission that you will take part in, but it also has submissions that as a GM, you can go through and target those missions. Like we're going to do a couple bombing runs. We have to go out and take out some enemy aircraft that are in particular areas. And it gives you all those samples and things that you can do within those months to fill up the months and your experience and how much money you're getting. Because the key point of Airbase-67 is you're 500 in the hole, basically, by buying one of these jet aircraft. If you lose it, you got to pay that back and got to buy another one. They'll give you another 500 grand in the hole, assuming you survive. But nevertheless, you're always trying to make money to buy yourself out of your contract and get the heck out of Airbase-67, because again, you're constantly under threat of death, flying mission after mission after mission after mission until you can buy your way out, because you're basically in it like an indentured kind of person involved in it. Again, waylaid. For some reason, you've got some backstory where you're here and you need to find your way out. My main pilot, Marilyn Braddock, back in 1990, I had several pilots, but she was my main one, and she was Miss USA, and the person that was competing against her in Miss Universe had money and wealth and set her up to get her out of the Miss Universe pageant, and her talent was she could fly. So she had her like waylaid, taken out of the Miss Universe and put in Airbase-67, and then she had to pilot her way out of it. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. We had a blast with it. I had another guy who's a professional volleyball player named Maddox, and he got in like crippling debt from gambling and stuff like that, and he was in there. Anyway, there's a lot of different reasons your characters can get in there, but with these expanded gold editions that you can find on DriveThruRPG, and again, I'll put the links in the description below, you will find all kinds of really cool things to do. And I think I am now on Catalyst, which is Airbase 8, so it's the 8th gold edition. So I'm almost done with redoing the Saigid campaign and getting it fleshed out in this new gold fashion. So I hope you can take a look at that. But anyway, thanks so much for listening today. Hopefully you'll be back. Hopefully I can do more of these videos, not just for fast, but for all this stuff you can see on the shelf. Not necessarily the characters on the shelf, but the stuff on the shelf anyway, because I know people really like my DM notes videos. And I don't know that I'll be doing any complete DM notes videos, but I could definitely give you run-throughs of adventures and what I like about them and what I don't like about them, because obviously I've played these things since the early 80s, and people seem to like some of my suggestions, and I really like what people put in comments in their suggestions, because there's some great ones, especially for stuff like Horror on the Hill, which I absolutely love, Palace of the Silver Princess, which I love. Anyway, a lot of those classic D&D adventures. So anyway, thanks a lot for coming by. If you stayed to the end of the video, congratulations. Almost nobody does that. But nevertheless, as I always say, I hope to see you again, and great gaming.